Alright guys, what's going on? Today we're going to rank the Spider-Man games from best to worst. And before this video starts, I want to make sure that you guys know that I actually kind of played some of them. And some of them I still remember. But ones like Spider-Man 2000 and Spider-Man 2000 the sequel are kind of hard to get. So I didn't play those, but I watched gameplay videos. So if it seems like I don't really cover too much in those games, the older ones especially, then that's why. I just want to let you guys know. But I think I did an okay job, considering this is my opinion. And this is how I like the game. So yeah. So if you guys are new, just like and subscribe, and then let's get on with the video. So, Amazing Spider-Man 2. This is honestly, this game should not have been as bad as it was. It's kind of the movie. It's as bad as the movie, I guess you could say, because it's, I don't know. For some reason, from coming from Amazing Spider-Man 1, all Beanox had to do was basically just work on what they had in Amazing Spider-Man, because they had some good elements in Amazing Spider-Man. All they had to do was work on it and build on it. But they did not do that here. For some reason, I don't know. They thought it would be a quantity over quality thing, and it just kind of just doesn't work out here. Like, for instance, the combat is the okay thing, and the web swinging is okay. Those are about the only things that I can get from this game. Other than that, the gameplay is repetitive. It's really, really bad how repetitive it is. They shove Spider-Man characters in there from his universe, and it just feels overwhelming. The closed missions, they spam so many of the closed missions in this game, and there's like, not like Amazing Spider-Man 1 where it had open world missions and everything. And plus, this game doesn't really add anything from the first game. And you know, the only thing that they added in there was dialogue options, which are not that impressive, honestly. It's honestly kind of stupid. Oh, and it's really retarded how the story goes as well. The Carnage basically goes around spray painting CK everywhere with everybody's blood and everything. So the Carnage Killer, and it's kind of stupid. I hate it. It's so dumb. You can see why this one's the worst one, because it just doesn't try for it to do anything. The open world's not very good, especially when they add this hero or menace system where it doesn't really do anything. It doesn't affect the game at all. I think the only thing that happens with the hero or menace system is that people like you on the street or they don't. And that's basically it. And plus the story kind of fucking devolved that whole aspect of it, because the story actually makes it to where you're a menace or not, or like, it doesn't make any sense to have that. The boss fights are not good at all. It's either just spamming a button or spamming an attack, or, you know, just milking the way to kill the bosses, and it's rinse and repeat until you defeat them.
In your darkest moments, you wish you were strong enough to be like me. Admit it. Give in to it. This is so much fun. That's it. Go ahead. Kill me. You know you want to.
No, I don't kill.
Yeah. I told him you'd never be like me.
The enemies especially when the enemies come in like the second half, I think it is, I'm not sure, where they block the city and basically just fucking stop you from web swinging. It is the most annoying thing in the game, because it literally halts you, and it is so annoying because there's so many of them, and the AIs and enemies in this game are just not good at all. So, also, in personal opinion, I hate Sam Riegel as a voice actor. Sam Riegel is fucking terrible. I don't know how he got to be in both Spider-Man games, but he is so bad. I think he's my least favorite Spider-Man voice actor. Even though I can tell some of them are worse, I just do not like Sam Riegel.
Go somewhere exotic. With our power, we can live like royalty. Adventure, excitement, romance. And that sounds terrible to you.
No, but I've got responsibilities.
Well, I'm not one of them. Don't worry about me. I've always done fine with a target on my back.
I can't just let you go.
I don't like
Too
him.
many cops.
He just
If I'm
doesn't
in
seem very
custody, I'm as good as
charismatic
dead.
at all.
You can't do
And
this
it's
to me
fucking
any
annoying.
more than I can do it to you.
But yeah, that's basically what I have to say. Okay, and now I'm moving on to Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 3 is still probably as bad, if not worse, as you remember. It's still not good at all. The combat is not good. The enemies are very annoyingly overpowered. They can melt you in 1 fucking second, and you only have like one dodge move, and it's the LB button. I play this on Xbox, so it's the LB button, and it's very annoying how it doesn't work sometimes. And it's literally 5 enemies can attack you at once, and you have to keep tapping LB 5 times, and it's so annoying. The combat is just not good at all in this game, and there's sometimes where there's just overpowered enemies with a bunch of other enemies to where you basically are fucked. The game feels very dated. Like, it feels very 2007. And I don't know why this game especially feels like that, but it just feels so, like, out of its era, if that makes any sense at all. The side missions are basically... the side missions are just basically a waste of your time. They don't do anything besides get you to the next story point. They don't like evolve into the story somehow or anything like that, but they're kind of main missions but side missions as well, because you have to kind of do the side missions to get the main missions, but they don't really add anything. It's just you kind of just do it, and then you're like, okay, well, now I can do the story mission. That's what I've been waiting for. So, and there's no interesting ones, honestly. I played through the game, there's really no interesting ones that stand out. The most interesting missions are the main missions. The animations, I don't know, this is a good thing to me. The animations are hilarious. If you're not in the suit with Spider-Man and you're out with, like, you see human beings, if you see human beings, the animations are hilarious. And honestly, it made me have more of a fun time with this game than I probably would have, because I was laughing at the animations, because they're just so, like, it just, I don't know, they're just so weird and odd. And the way that they move and shit is so funny. The web swinging is okay. It's quite good, actually. From Spider-Man 2, it definitely is downgraded, but it still feels like he's attaching to something other than, like, other Spider-Man games, where it feels like he's not even trying to attach to anything. He's just floating through midair, and he's attaching his webs to space. Also, Bruce Campbell's in here, and Bruce Campbell, whenever he's in the video game, is amazing, so that's an added plus. Some of the QTEs are so hard. QTEs, I usually don't mind QTEs, but QTEs in this game are so ridiculously hard. I do not know why. Especially towards the end, they get harder, and it gives you like a second to react, and it's so stupid. I do not like the QTEs at all. The voice acting is fine. It's not that good, because I feel like every time they get one of these movie actors to do something in the game, they don't really try that hard. They kind of just, are there for the check and then leave. They get in the booth, record whatever fucking lines they got to, and they peace out. So, I mean, the combat's not that best, but the combos are pretty decent, and the web swinging things you can do in the city and everything are actually pretty cool. I think what saved this game for me from being the worst was probably just how bad it was that it was good to me, because the animations are stupid and the web swinging is actually good. The level design is okay. The QTEs are so stupidly annoying. The boss fight with Harry Osborn is kind of it's kind of and you're just flying around the city and it looks so dumb. But yeah, I think that's why I got the second worst Spider-Man game to me. And then let's move on to the next one. So Spider-Man Friend or Foe, I don't think this is a terrible game. I just don't, it's a game for kids. It's not anything that's trying to be amazing or anything like that. It's just trying to be, you know, what it's intended out for. And I feel like if that's what it is, it's got it down perfectly. But I personally just don't like it too much. It's okay, I guess, playing through it the first time, but it's not really anything I'd replay. And it's kind of just a beat 'em up game, which is okay for what it was, but I just don't kind of like that direction of Spider-Man that they were going in this weird adaptation. This is probably the oddest game to even come out that's Spider-Man related, because it just feels very different from what the other games have been. But I will say a good couple things are that it has a bunch of villains from Spider-Man games and you get to beat them, and this game is co-op, so I mean any game that's pretty much co-op is just easier to get through. Honestly, in my opinion. Yeah, but it has a bunch of like characters from from Spider-Man's universe, and you get to beat them, and they actually have some pretty decent combos and pretty cool moves and everything. But besides that, it's pretty much it. The boss fights are okay. But yeah, other than that, that's all I have to say about this one. Okay, now we're moving on to Edge of Time. Spider-Man Edge of Time, I don't get what Beanox does where they make their first, like, for instance, Shattered Dimensions, great game. Then they move on to the sequel for that game. It's not good. Then Amazing Spider-Man comes out, it's okay. Then they move on to Amazing Spider-Man 2, and it's trash. I do not understand what it is about sequels for Beanox, but for some reason they always fall flat. Edge of Time has this very odd thing where they take okay, so Shattered Dimensions has 4 characters, right? So you have Noir, 2099, Ultimate, and Amazing. So they take out 2 of the characters that made the game so great, and they basically take 2099 and Amazing and make a whole story behind that. And it's like, I don't understand why you're taking more out when that was one of the perks of the first game. But I was like, okay, maybe they can make a good game. But I'll tell you, this is probably the most boring, bland Spider-Man game there is. The level design is so bland and just so like gray. It just doesn't look exciting at all to play. It looks so boring. The level design itself, like I guess there's like this monster that's coming after you with tentacles. They call it Atrocity or something like that, and it's so annoying because that integrates through the level design, and it just fucks with you until you basically get rid of it, and it's annoying as hell because it literally stops you as you're traversing and just basically stops you in your tracks and always hits you, and it's just an annoying like enemy, I guess, AI. I don't know. The combat is boring though. I don't know why Shattered Dimensions combat is actually pretty fun to play, but this one is just not. I don't understand why that is, but for some reason they made that one like that. Okay, so for, things that I like about the game, I do like the Spider-Man that his suit gets ripped up. I know it's a small detail, but I do actually like that his suit gets ripped up, and it looks really cool at the end of the game when his suit is basically just messed up and everything. Also, they may have not taken the two Spider-Man characters, or they may not have taken the two best Spider-Man characters that were in the last game, but they took the two best voice actors, in my opinion. I love Josh Keaton, and I love the dude from the 90s Spider-Man cartoon. He is so fucking good. He should be in more stuff. He is such a good voice actor for video games. It is so amazing. They do their best with what they got. I promise you. And their voice acting, one of their performances are probably the thing that keeps the game going, honestly. Also, the boss fights are okay. I think that it's cool that sometimes the boss from the future can interact with the boss from the past and everything like that. But other than that, the enemies are generic. The level design's not that good. They took what made the last game great, which is very disappointing, and I don't like it. But all right, moving on. Okay, now we're moving on to the Spider-Man movie game. I don't know what it is, but for some reason it's worse in this than it is in Spider-Man 3, but it sounds like the voice actors are not trying at all. It sounds like they're about to doze off in the booth reading these lines, and it feels like they're not interested to be there at all.
They stuck with me after Uncle Ben died. Harry's dad, Norman, was great too. He even let Harry and me stay in one of the apartments he owned after we graduated and moved into the city. I got a job with the Daily Bugle, taking pictures of myself. Life sure is strange sometimes. No matter how much you want to hold on to a moment, you can't stop time from moving on.
General Slocum has given Oscorp a week to prove that we can develop a working serum. Or we are going to lose the contract to Quest Labs.
I don't know what it was about this one especially, but you could just tell. This one I do actually like a little bit, because I did play it when I was a kid, so I've got that nostalgia factor. But I do have, there's air combat and stuff. I've went back to it a little bit. The air combat is pretty cool. The combat in general is pretty ahead of its time, I think. It's cool seeing the characters that aren't in the movie in the games, and I feel like a lot of them are like a lot of them have done that, but I feel like it's really cool whenever you have a game like Spider-Man 1 or 2 and they follow the story, but then they kind of, you know, write their own story as they go along, and they don't do it like Amazing Spider-Man 2, which was absolutely terrible. The way that they did that, they intertwined it, it was so stupid. You can actually interact with environment stuff like barrels and everything like that, which I think is ahead of its time, really. I don't know why I keep saying everything's ahead of its time. I don't know what kind of games came out, but I'm pretty sure that it's pretty impressive for what it was when it came out. I feel like this game, though, has the problems where it is basically just 2000 Spider-Man. It's Spider-Man 2000, and I'm not really mad about that, but it's just like, you can tell that it's basically just Spider-Man 2000 just with the movie game tied in and everything, and they tried to kind of do that like, you know, the 2000 Spider-Man. And honestly, in my opinion, Spider-Man 2000 looks better than this game, because I don't know what it is, but just the way that these graphics look like they're trying to go for like a more realistic look, obviously, for the movie, but for some reason Spider-Man 2000 just looks better than this. I guess Spider-Man 2000 is just more cartoonish, and I like that. But yeah, so moving on. Okay, now we're going on to Spider-Man 2000, the sequel. I actually don't have that much to say about this game, because it's basically just Spider-Man 2000. It literally looks the same. It literally looks exactly the same as Spider-Man 2000. It doesn't look anything. It might have improved graphics, I think, because I think his suit looks a little bit better, but other than that, it looks exactly the same. Like Spider-Man 2000, the boss fights are cool. It has a nice character. It has nice characters added into it, like, you know, the villains and everything from the Spider-Man universe are added in, and it has a bunch of those villains. And I like the voice actor for this Spider-Man. Actually, I like the voice actors for this game period. And this game seems like it has better writing than Spider-Man 2000, because Spider-Man 2000's writing is not that good. But let's move on into Spider-Man 2000. Spider-Man 2000. So I actually did play this one when I was a kid, and I haven't played it since, but I've been looking up gameplay videos, and this was apparently ahead of its time when it came out, which is really impressive for that game, because it's, I think, the first game that it lets you web swing in. I think it actually has okay combat for what it was, for like back then. It has okay combat. The boss battles are kind of interesting. It's not just like you go up to them and punch them and then you do that. You actually have to like kind of throw stuff at them and everything. It's not too difficult, but you know, it's better than just being so simplistic that you don't, basically it's not fun. I think that the writing in the game is terrible. The writing in the game is terrible. There's one scene where Spider-Man is basically fighting Venom, and Spider-Man goes, Eddie Brock, I hate you, blah blah blah, and I don't care what you do. And Mary Jane's like hanging, and Venom literally goes, "You're in the doghouse now, Spider-Man." And I was just laughing. I was like, what the fuck?
Our bad? I'm gonna kill you!
Peter Parker! Just get me out of here now!
Bummer. You're in the doghouse now, dude.
Coming, honey.
This one actually has cool ass appearances by Punisher, Daredevil, and Captain America, which is fucking cool because I did not know that till after I looked up videos on it. That is cool as hell. And Daredevil actually comes into the story a little bit. They're not just like, and Punisher I think comes into the story. I think the only one that doesn't really like come into the story and have a part in the story is Captain America. But yeah, and I think this one has suit unlockables as well, so that's really cool. For a game this time, I feel like this was very ahead of it, like kind of ahead of its curve. Now that I go back and look at it, but yeah, let's move on. Okay, so the Amazing Spider-Man. When I played, I actually did like this game a little bit more when it came out. Back when I was younger, it's probably 2000. Yeah, it came out like 2012, I think. So yeah, I was a little bit younger. I enjoyed it more, but going back, this is actually Beanox. They have an okay game right here. They have an okay idea, and it actually could work out. And I see where the potential is. And it would be so easy for the sequel to be, you know, better. But for somehow they fuck it up. I do not understand. The web swinging is okay. The combat is actually pretty good. It copies Arkham Asylum and City down to a pat. But I mean, I guess if you're gonna copy any combat, then that's probably the best to copy, because I couldn't complain, because it's not as good as Arkham Combat, obviously, but it's an okay copycat. The boss fights are good. I actually do like the Spider-Bot boss fights, where you can swing around. You're swinging around like the city, kind of open world, but it's kind of enclosed, and you're like fighting the thing and going up on the buildings and everything, and you're fighting it in midair and everything like that. I think that's cool. And stealth combat. This game has stealth. I think maybe it was the first to introduce stealth. I'm not sure about that. I'm an idiot. Shattered Dimensions introduced stealth. But this game has stealth, and the stealth combat is actually pretty good. I feel like they took the noir aspect of Shattered Dimensions and kind of just applied it to this game, which is pretty good. I remember there being a thing where Spider-Man's costume gets ripped up, and Spider-Man, it's actually a cool effect. I always like that in video games when they have like a Spider-Man, you know, getting hurt and his suit tears up and everything, that effect. I still don't like Sam Riegel, but it's a personal opinion. Also, this suit that you get, that they use for the movie and this game, I hate it to death. I hate it in the movie. I hate it in this game. It does not look good. This is either one of my least favorites or my least favorite Spider-Man costume, because it is terrible looking. It looks like a straight basketball. I hate it so much. I like how also the bosses have like an animalistic look to them, like Rhino and Scorpion and all them. They actually look pretty cool, and I wish they would have kind of used that for Amazing Spider-Man 2, but they don't use that at all in that like movie. I wish they would have used a more animalistic approach instead of Rhino looking like a big ass Autobot or Decepticon running around in that movie. But yeah, this game's okay. It's not too amazing, but it's not too great. I think it falls on the better side, because I feel like they did try with this one, where I feel like Edge of Time and Amazing Spider-Man 2, they did not try that much at all, but this one I feel like they tried a little bit more. So yeah, it's not too bad, not too good. But let's move on to the next one.